Hello everyone and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today history comes alive as Cloud, playing as the Romans in teal, prepares to take on KW, playing as the Goths in blue. Now while the players herd their herdables, explore their immediate surroundings, and try to go up to Feudal as fast as possible, let's take a look at the Civ matchup we'll be watching today. Now, the Romans are the new kid on the block, a mixed land-based naval civilization with a few strong unit features that make them potentially very, very dangerous in the later stages of a game. To start with, Roman infantry units get double the effect of blacksmith armor upgrades. They have access to the Legionary, a tanky, well-armored, unique unit that replaces their two-handed swordsmen and champions, and comes with a pretty decent attack bonus, +4, against other infantry units. Now, to make their infantry even deadlier, the Romans can turn to their second unique unit, the Centurion. This is a heavy cavalry unit that increases the movement speed and attack speed of militia line units within its radius. Now, to overwhelm their opponents on the field of battle, the Romans can actually upgrade all of their militia line units, all of their knight line units, and their Centurions to train faster and come with a small charge attack, very, very similar to the Burgundian Custelier, although much, much smaller, only +5 versus the +20 and more of the Burgundian Custelier. Now, to back up their army, the Romans have one of the deadliest scorpions in the game. Not only do these siege units cost a lot less gold, but their minimum range is lowered from 2 to 1. They can be upgraded to fire faster, and they're the only scorpions in the game that benefit from ballistics. Now, to help a player get to those later stages of the game and take advantage of all the features that the Romans have, Roman villagers gather resources and build and repair structures 5% faster than generic villagers. Looks like the villager did take some damage from the Rhino. Man, I love watching Rhino pulls just to see if the another villager takes damage from the Rhino. I always love to see when players can pull Rhinos and Elephants without taking any damage. Those units do move faster than the traditional boar javelina. So that is the Romans. Not a lot of ranked games because, to be honest, they are not in the ranked ladder at all. I believe that will be coming in the June patch. That's why this game, this one of two games, if you saw about a week ago, we posted these two players. I believe Cloud played the Romans as well on the water. Now we're going to get to see them on the land. These are unranked matches, which is why their Elos are the same as they were about a week ago, because these games happened about a week ago. And so very excited for the June patch, by the way, so that we can see some Romans in the ranked ladder and see some big names. And if not big names, any high Elo names would be absolutely fantastic. These two players giving us a very good view into what the Romans are capable of. Cloud, last game we saw using those Dromans to great effect. Oh, I shouldn't say that. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out. No spoilers from me, but yeah, take a look. 1998 Elo for our Goth, 2224 for our Romans, who is a favorite in this game, just as he was in the last game, just based on Elos alone. But before we dive into all of that, let's finish and wrap up the Goths. Man, as single-minded as a civilization can possibly be in Age of Empires, pushing its players towards one military building and one military building alone. I am, of course, talking about the barracks. These structures start out the game working 20% faster, but can be upgraded to work more than 200% faster, which is great because the Goths in Imperial do get 10 extra population space, capping out at 210 versus the normal 200. All Goth infantry units get progressively cheaper as the game goes on until Imperial, when they are 35% cheaper. And all Goth infantry units do get a progressive attack bonus against buildings, I believe up to +3, which makes them quite good at taking down castles and other structures in the later stages of the game. Now, the Goth barracks itself can be upgraded to train the unique unit of the Goths, the Huskarl. This is an overall decent infantry unit with one specialized set of skills, and that is to kill archers. Huskarls come with a big attack bonus against archers and base pierce armor that basically makes them immune to most archer fire in the game. Now, the Goths, to feed a big, hungry population, their hunters are stronger, carry more, and their hunts last 20% longer, and they can research loom in under a second, which means Gothic villagers can be much harder to kill starting right away. And if you weren't aware, the time it takes to research loom, I believe, is the exact amount of time that it takes to research, or rather to train a villager. And so when you can research loom instantaneously, it does mean you can have more time to get an extra villager. Although in the game in front of us, both players at 19 villagers, both players heading up to feudal. It looks like our Goth will reach it first, having got loom. What about our Roman? Our Roman also has loom. Fascinating. 7 seconds away from feudal is our Roman. Let's take a look at the base. Pretty open in the front, which our Goth is exploiting right now with 3 militias and a scout. We'll see if he can block this villager or a villager. No. Instead takes damage on his... Oh, but look at this one villager. 6 HP, 2 or 3 more shots. Or rather, maybe 2 shots, and he would have died. But let's take a quick look. Primary gold, love it. Nice and secure in the back. Primary stone, also in the back. As we saw the forward-facing portion of his base completely open. Lots and lots of villagers on this one tree here, biding his time until he can come up with a response to this, maybe? For now, he's got 4 militias of his own. Where are they? They are at the front of our Goth space. So our Roman saying a good defense is a good offense. What's the expression? I forget the expression. In any event, with the 1 militia, manages to snipe the weaker man-at-arms. And beautiful pickup there for our Roman. First blood prize goes to him as he continues jacking lumber in the immediate vicinity of his town center. I don't mind this at all. The problem is he's got 1 villager on food and has only 1 villager building at a time. That being said, only down 1 villager. Not surprising for our Goth. Like I said, having loom researched instantaneously does allow you to be 1 villager ahead in most cases. So nothing out of the ordinary, to be honest. Our Goth, primary gold, very exposed in the front, which by the way is also open. So he had to wall this off using a bunch of different structures, and primary stone a little bit off to the side. Loses a scout, but manages to get a villager. 2 economic kills for our Romans so far. And now the archers venturing a little bit too close to these men-at-arms do take a bunch of damage. One of them is already, what, 6? Down 80% of its HP. In the midst of all this, our Roman tries to lure a boar. Our Goth lets it happen. A boar, not a boar, a rhino. Our Goth lets it happen, sees it, realizes, you know what, I'm not going to get much done here. These villagers are not dying. My units are. 4 kills to 2 at this point. And let's see a big ol' infantry battle. Man, the history of the Goths and the Romans is so fascinating. You know, I think it spans about 200 years when the Goths showed up, all the various tribes. And then they were integrated and assimilated. Some of them didn't like it, leading rebellions and revolts. Some of them doing quite well under Roman rule. And then eventually the Huns came along and started pushing, made a bit of a Goth sandwich. And so the Goths found themselves between Rome and the Huns and just started pushing into Rome. And that's when I think all hell broke loose. So we'll see in this game what happens. Will the Romans push back the Gothic tide, or will the Goths sack Rome? Just like happened in real life. Although I think I could be wrong by that point. I think it was the early 400s. For some reason, 405 AD sticks out in my mind, although that could be very wrong. Somebody with a better knowledge of history could correct me. Oh no, a Roman being led into a trap here, although a trap of his own doing on move command. I think it was 405, but I think at that point the Roman capital was no longer in Rome. Right? Man, I need to brush up on my history here. As the Goths push forward, I am thinking back to the books I read decades ago. I think at that point it was Milan that was the capital of Rome. Milan or Ravenna, I don't know which one of those two. But in any event, I'm very excited because it looks like we're seeing infantry on infantry. So you have the Romans, whose legionary will come with a nice +4 attack. I mean, let's put it like this. I hope we get to see the legionary. If we do, we'll get to see a legionary, which we haven't seen yet, at least not on my channel, with a +4 attack against infantry, take on the Goths with their 35% cheaper infantry units and their barracks that produce them 3 times faster. Now, if you're wondering what that means in practical terms, let me put it like this. A fully upgraded Goth barracks, one of these, is the equivalent of 3 generic barracks. Because they work 3 times faster, 219% faster, in fact. Now, I don't know why, after the patch a few weeks ago that introduced the Romans, some games where there's lumberjacks, the lumberjacks are glowing. Now, I don't know if they're radioactive. I don't know if this is gamma ray Hulk lumberjacks, but that is what it is, and that is my explanation for why some of these villagers are glowing. Some of them are not. Maybe they're all pregnant. They have that glow about them. I don't know. One Gothic man-at-arms ventures a little bit too far off campus. Archery range looks like it's will it go down? Will it not go down? 400, 300. Looks like he's abandoned it. Doesn't want to get any more villagers attacked. As they repair. Oh, come on. You're so close. 27 HP. Why did you abandon it? Why did you abandon it? Oh, God. It had 27 HP. Could have easily gotten that. Ravenna, I think, was the capital of that portion of the Roman Empire. I think. Again, let me know in the comments. Ooh, is this villager stuck? Or is there a path here? It looks like there's a path. Yeah, so Rome, I think, more of a token city at that point. I don't think it was the seat of power. That being said, I think it's the first time in like 1,000 years that somebody had actually sacked Rome. I know it happened a bunch of times in BC, and it was ransomed and all this other stuff, but I think it was a long time before that. In any event, I'm excited because it looks like we are seeing infantry on infantry. Both players, roughly the same army supply. Our Goth ahead in villagers by about 10%. Our Roman going men-at-arms, archers, and skirmishers. Our Goth going men-at-arms, archers, skirmishers. Okay, I'm here for it. Like I said, very cool history between these two nations in real life. And so not surprising. Just like, you know, the Romans integrated a whole bunch of different tribes, Germanic I'm thinking Vandal tribes. A lot of different groups of people came under the umbrella of Roman rule. And, you know, after a few hundred years, is it any surprise that they, you know, looked kind of similar, behaved kind of similarly, fought the same way, ate the same foods, etc.? Skirmisher should be able to shoo away this one archer. As back home, across the Desert Sea, our Roman now heading up to Castle Age off the back of 39 villagers, still down about 10% villager count, but ahead in military. And let's see if our infantry battle continues. Very sparse economies for both players here. That being said, our Goth nowhere close to going up. Archers. His quiver is the last thing that remains. The only evidence that he ever existed. To be found by archaeologists, what, 1,800 years later? 1,600 years later? Our Goth needs to get his butt up, needs to start banking some resources. Going a little bit too economic at the moment. We'll see what he does, how he reacts when in 45 seconds, all of a sudden he hears that sound that indicates his opponent has gone up to castle, and he himself is stuck in feudal with, I mean, he's got the gold, he's got the structures. What has he built? An archery range, and obviously a blacksmith, seeing as how he's getting upgrades, a market even. So let's see in 10 seconds how he reacts. Now he's starting to bank food. Now he's buying food, actually. But look, when you use the primary resource as part of your wall off, it exposes you to archer units, to ranged units from the other side. And then one skirmisher can just stand here and be so annoying, pushing away villagers. That being said, KW has managed to shoo away all the ranged units, although a few more back here building a house, keeping this villager busy with a very aggressive forward barracks. Yes, let's see legionaries. No villagers on stone just yet. Hits castle, long swordsman, scale mail armor. Our Goths still 130 food away from being able to even click up. Defensive tower, not bad at all. Doesn't look like our Roman wants to invest in crossbows. Why would? He's only got 2 archers, so he is going full on and more chainmail armor. He wants to bust into this base, but bust into what? Now there's a tower. Okay, our Goth sees this. Where did he escape out of? Oh, he made a little hole, a little gap in his defenses. Clogs it up, plugs it up. Villager comes back. The good thing for our Goth, though, he has seen the barracks, so he knows this is an infantry play, and he must be smiling. He must be loving this, finally heading up to castle himself. He must be laughing to himself, saying, "You're gonna go infantry against the Goths? Are you kidding me? My units are going to be, what, 30% cheaper now in Castle Age in a minute?" Plus, he's getting forging, something a Roman skipped. That being said, Squire's arson. He wants these infantry units to move faster. He wants them to destroy houses quicker. 2 archers in the back continuing to cause trouble, but our Goth creating a bit of a compartmentalization. There's a gap here. Needs to realize that. Remember, the Goths, not exactly a civilization designed to defend. The developers of this game wanted them to be so much on the aggressive, they didn't even give them stone walls. Even the Cumans who don't have stone walls, their palisades at least come with 33% more HP. So this 250 would be 333. But the Goths, nah, the developer said, we don't want you defending anything. We want you to be on the aggro, endless attacks, 3 barracks, siege workshop. But the Romans have stormed the settlement. Let's see the Goths. Still 16 seconds away from having Long Swordsman himself. Does have the better attack upgrades, but not the greatest armor upgrades. That being said, this is a good way to waste time. This is a good way to stop your opponent from penetrating your base. He is going full balls to the wall, frontal attack, no side attacks whatsoever. And so clogging up the works with the Goths, with their quicker building units. Remember, they do start the game working 20% faster, and they're cheaper, etc., etc. Not a bad play here by our Goth, who is now pushing out. No villagers on stone for either player, so we're not going to get to see perfusion, which makes their barracks work faster. We're not going to get to see castles out of either player. We are just going to see swordsmen batting the shit out of each other. And it is our Goth who builds the first Scorpion, our Roman. Not far behind. Needs to be careful, though. I hope he garrisons it for now. I don't think he can really release 1 Scorpion. Let's take a look at it. Minimum range 2. Minimum range 1. Man, does that make a difference. You know, you may not think a tile makes a big difference. But when you're being hounded by infantry, when you're being pursued by infantry, oh, a Scorpion for a Scorpion leaves the whole world blind. When you are being pursued, when you are being attacked into by infantry, every tile advantage you can get is a godsend. Still, no villagers on stone. Farming upgrades for our Goth, who feels comfortable enough that he now has a +2/+1 on his infantry to the 0. But take a look at the Romans. This is where they peak in terms of infantry armor in Castle Age. Take a look. He's got 1, 2 armor upgrades, but instead of being +2, it is +4/+4. So for now, the better armored infantry unit. Our Goth, again, desperately walling himself in here, using houses. Why the hell not? Monastery as well. Where are you guys going through thick, thin, and lion? Lion moves at a 0.7. These infantry units not paying him any mind as they try to defend at home as well. Good defense here out of our Goth, who now basically has the same army supply. Ahead now 5 villagers. And continuing to mass. Has he built more barracks behind this is my question. No, just 3 barracks for now. And he discovers this wood line. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh, as Scooby-Doo would say. Roman, what is he doing? He's retreating? Oh no. As he anticipates some kind of side swipe, side attack? 19 long swordsmen against 18 long swordsmen, 1 monk versus 0, a mangonel versus 3 of these scorpions. So we are getting to see a beautiful, beautiful use of the Romans here. This is what I was hoping to see. I don't know if the players agreed to do this beforehand. You know, when they played the last game on the water, I don't know if they agreed to let the Roman get the Dramen. And I, to be honest, we're still fairly early into this game, so I don't know how it's going to shape out or what we're going to see here. But I wonder if the players, because it's not ranked, they said, you know what, you play Goth, you go heavy on the infantry, and I'm going to go Roman and also play heavy on the infantry. And let's see if the Romans, with all their various features, can outbeat the quintessential infantry civilization. I should say quintessential barrack civilization. Oh no, Mangonel straying a little bit too far off campus. Finally gets forging, does our Roman, who looks like he has cleared up all of the aggression at home, with the exception of 1 long swordsman who's trying to hack away at a blacksmith. Good luck with that. And FYI, the fact that these ballistas get scorpions, the fact that these scorpions get ballistics is pretty damn good. Being able to hit moving targets is yeah, like I said, in my opinion, one of the deadliest scorpions now in the game. Oh, all the armor in the world isn't gonna help you from attack like that, except the second attack round kind of shit the bed there. The third one, though, does a good job, and a town center and a second mangonel. Things are getting chaotic here in our Gothic settlement. Both mangonels go down, none left, and with 5 pierce armor, it is going to be difficult for this town center to take these guys down. Monks are going down. Okay, garrison's the monk, but 2 lie face down in the farmlands of the Goths. But yet again, for the 3rd time, our Goth has held. The settlement stands strong. Town center off campus, love it. Absolutely love the location of that town center. Protect the western frontier of your base. And take a look, our Roman, 11 villagers on stone to the 3 of the Goths. I hope this means we're going to get to see centurions and get to click on them. Oh, gets a convert, does our Goth. And then what? He just kind of hangs out, lets some ballistas destroy him from behind. That sounded dirty. He lets some ballistas. I don't know why I keep calling them ballistas. Scorpions. So we got a huge battle up to the north, a bit of a smaller battle to the center. Our Roman decisively taking both. Love this. 5 scorpions, 3 more on the way. And take a look, 12 villagers on stone. He's starting to bank the amount of stone needed for what, though? That is the question. Will he go more town centers? He's only down 7 villagers out of 62 or 69, so not terrible. Down 10% is worse in the earlier stages of the game, but now when you've gone full on infantry, being down 6 or 7 villagers, in my opinion, not the end of the world here. Scorpions continue to attack that archery range, while our Goth yet again finds himself defending. But take a look. Extra town center to the left, extra town center to the right. Villagers glowing with radioactivity. Why are they only glowing when they're chopping lumber? When they return the lumber, they're not glowing at all. And then the second they start chopping lumber, they're glowing again. Curiouser and curiouser, but 5 villager lead now for our Goth. He needs to allocate food very, very carefully here. Do you go full economy or do you go full infantry? Remember, again, the Goths with that 35% discount in Imperial, a third off. That's pretty damn crazy. And these crazy times when you can't get out of a grocery store without spending $150 on 5 items, having a 35% discount on the cost of goods is not something to be laughed at. Please repair that mangonel. There we go. And all the armor in the world eventually will not help if you keep taking more and more and more archer fire from the town center. Monks coming out to convert. Attack round, not bad. Manages to get half the HP on these swordsmen before they die, before it dies rather. The mangonel, and the monk survives too. Weak HP swordsman tried to kill it, and it survives. It stands strong. But take a look at the economy kills. 25 villagers killed for our Roman. Our Goth has only killed 5, and here we go. Centurion as well. You love to see it. There we go. What a fun looking unit with his flashy cape. So remember, any militia line unit, meaning these long swordsmen, hopefully legionaries at some point, in this guy's radius. Now, because he's not elite, his radius right now is 10 tiles. When he's elite, it'll be 12. But their attack speed is now increased. It doesn't look like you can see it here with the Capture Age graphics, I guess, just yet. Maybe it'll be in the next version of Capture Age. But their attack actually increases 25% faster they attack, and they move 10% faster. Let's see if that's actually shown. No, I don't think so. To 0.99. Now this should be a, what, a 1.09? 1.08, however the rounding works. But no, they're outside the radius. These Centurions have to get here. What a cool looking unit, by the way. Look at that helmet. I love that helmet with that mohawk, but sideways. I'm sure there's an actual fancy term for it militarily, but I like to call it a mohawk, like the Greek soldiers used to have, but it's on sideways. And look at him whacking at this Gothic infantry from atop his horse. But it gets a convert. Gets a convert, dies. And the Romans get cleared up for an umpteenth time here. And our Goth behind this has managed to kill 16 villagers. As he yet again secures his base and pushes the Roman Empire back. This is starting to look like late 4th century and not 3rd century. And what I mean by that, it's starting to look like the Goths are overwhelming the Romans and not the Romans overwhelming the Goths. Although I think the Goths took some pretty bad fights in the late 4th century as well. In any event, I'm going to stop talking about history because my memory of that stuff is a little bit foggy. Should have probably read up a little bit about this. Is quite a long distance lumberjacking here. A 4th town center, although a 3rd. This one has gone down. Another converted Centurion. Let's take a moment to look at that beautiful unit. What a fun looking unit. Look at his cape flowing in the wind. Good job by the developers to design these units. Both players, by the way, happy as pigs in shit to stay in Castle Age. A Roman castle to the left here will secure the gold pile. How did the lion see these villagers? Man, it looks like he came from very far away. Roman villager versus lion. I'm sure there's a parable, a fable in here somewhere, some Herculean something. But our Roman yet again moving in, not taking a moment's pause, and now defecting Centurions turn against their Roman masters and slay all of the scorpions that exist on the field of battle, except for this one, who is nice and secure behind a castle or in front of a castle. What's with the door? Oh, never mind. It's a shadow. I thought it was a busted up door. No, the door's just open. By the way, let's take a second to look at this castle. Not something we see every day. This looks like, what does that say? Centrum up here. We have the Roman eagle, the golden eagle. That's a pretty looking castle. This looks like almost like a heavy camel rider's shield here, though. What a pretty castle. Very nice. And now our Goth with a castle of his own. Also, by the way, our Goth pushing into this little peaceful community. Oh, look at this. Oh, you guys know how much I love my animals. We got some camels, zebras, ostrich, and a lion who basically says any human that ventures into this part of town is going to pay the price because these animals belong to me. I hunt them. I eat them. They are mine. Roman sees this castle before it goes up, but it will definitely go up. And now he's penetrating the base, the eastern portion of the base. Has he seen? Yeah, he's seen all the farms and stuff. Decides to kill his own Centurion instead of allowing him to be converted. Long swordsman being pumped out of these barracks. It looks like our Goth wants to start a bit of side action here, a side hustle, if you will, of long swordsmen. And we'll see if the first one that pops out here. Oh, you guys must have definitely heard that car rumbling in my parking lot. Oh, it's been a while since somebody has been annoying in my parking lot with their cars. Man, for some reason, I think my building attracts people who have racing cars and mufflers that are just annoying AF. Our Goth, though, has to get up to castle or at least get some kind of siege. This is basically unassailable. 2 high top castles on hills. Where are you going with your Centurions? Get your butt back here. This is not a position our Goth can attack into. 2 castles on hills, a whole bunch of infrastructure blocking the way, creating choke points for these scorpions, not ballistas, and a random skirmisher finds himself attacking a farmer. Okay. Will the monk get the convert? Yes, he does before he dies. That is an expensive convert for that monk. And now the side action has begun. 1, 2, 3, 3 structures here. Skirmisher still attacking this villager. Man, he is being annoying. Not effective at all, but annoying. Take a look at army supplies. 45 to 26. But again, our Goth maintaining his villager lead. But our Roman, finally, 1 extra, 2 extra town centers. Let's take a look at his base. See if we can notice anything particular besides this very aggressive forward position. No, he is moving his entire army back, and the Goths, take a look, that automatic plus, I think it caps out at +6, I want to say, in Imperial, but right now +5 attack against building on 30 swordsmen means that every time they swipe their swords, that's 150 extra damage, which is pretty crazy. The 2 Centurions who are converted finally do die. Town center being rebuilt over here. Don't mind it at all. These villagers from the stone mine can just run back home, although they could always run to the castle. Not super far. We'll take a look. Actually, no, we don't. I was going to say we'll take a look and see if perfusion was researched for our Goth to make that barracks work 219% faster, but he's still in Castle Age, and perfusion is an Imperial Age upgrade. More and more attacks. Look at the villager kill count, 39 to 39. Our Goth, who was down significantly, has evened that up and is now taking the lead. But these Romans are straying into a castle firing zone. The Centurion does die. No more faster attack, no more faster movement for these guys. Oh, please. I want to see our Roman heading to Imperial so we can see the legionary unit. For now, though, pretty damn happy to see this guy. Take a look at the base stats, though. Let's take a quick look, because not exactly a unit we see a lot. Base attack of 13. That is pretty bonko. No bonuses whatsoever. And take a look at the base armor. 2 base armor, 3 base armor. And by the way, all cavalry armor upgrades. Oh, will he get another convert? Does not. The infantry manage to snipe that monk down. Now remember, these guys also get husbandry and bloodlines, but our Roman not investing in those upgrades at all. Why? Because this is not really an integral part of the attacking army. These guys exist to boost these guys. And so they don't need to be moving faster. You know, maybe bloodlines you could justify just so their longevity on the field of battle is, you know, guaranteed. They need to take more hits before they die, and so their effect lasts longer. Husbandry, not so much. You don't want to outpace your infantry that you boost. But here we go, big battle again. Our Goth, dear Lord, take a look at how quickly they destroy these town centers. Our Roman, is he extending a bit too far? Going to get attacked by this castle. Does he care, though, with that +5, or rather 5 total pierce armor? Another castle for our Romans. He is creating a ring of castles. 1, 2, 3. That's going to make his base unassailable. At least from the south and the west. The north, maybe, with that infrastructure that our Goth built. Which, by the way, I can still see on the minimap is still here. A Roman castle. Is it even necessary at this point? Take a look at how quickly his units are shredding these Gothic units, and our Goth heading into Imperial. Let's see perfusion. Let's see those barracks. I love, it's like, you guys know sometimes I fanboy out on some of these things. I love Japanese trebs with Kataperuto. I love Timurid siegecraft trebs. I love watching samurais. And I love watching, oh, look at them. They're hunting the zebra. The lion is hunting them. Look at this. What the hell's going on here? Goth barracks with perfusion. A very, very fun thing to watch. We'll take a look at our bottom left of our screen. If he does research, I can't imagine he's not going to research it. He's got 42 army supply. He doesn't have enough gold. Oh, there we go. A bit more gold. But I can't imagine he's not going to research it once he hits Imperial. Right? I mean, you're going infantry. Why wouldn't you? The problem is it's a very expensive upgrade. I think 1,000 resources in total. And look at our Goth luring our Roman into the castle fire. By the way, a castle with villagers inside. That monk doesn't add arrows, but the villagers do. And another convert on a centurion. We'll take a look at the conversion count. But finally, our Roman says enough is enough. I've had enough of this side attack. GTFO. I'm going to destroy your infrastructure. Gets the monastery. Maybe don't focus on the house. And our Goth is an Imperial. Let's see. He's got a whole bunch of food. Trebs are coming out. And he's going to go two-handed swordsman. How will our Roman respond? I mean, long swordsman, two-handed swordsman. At this stage of the game, I would say quantity is probably the more important factor. 33 versus 35. But the Romans got castles everywhere. So does our Goth. Oh my goodness. By the way, one thing I love that I'm going to point out real quick. The second he hit Imperial, in addition to building a Treb, which is what they all do, all the high elo players do, he's researching Blast Furnace. Why is that important? That upgrade takes 100 seconds. A minute and 40 seconds to research. So you need to start much, much earlier to research that unit, that upgrade rather. As early as frickin' possible. And now a house will block the path of these long swordsmen who tried to get into here. This Treb is safe, or is he? No, he is not. But the villagers body blocking. The villagers here using themselves. But the Treb will go down. The problem for Roman is that our Goth has another one down here. And now it's being protected by a Centurion, a defect. There must be a way of saying that. I don't want to keep saying defective or defecting to Centurion. A Centurion who defected. Now, the one thing our Roman does have going for him is the armor. Take a look. Again, 5 melee, 5 pierce. Oh, God. These are now champions. 17 attack against an 11. Bodkin for these castles, no doubt. I can't imagine it's for this guy, who has spent the entire game attacking a farmer and a farm. Our Roman moving forward says, you know what, forget Imperial. I'm just going to try to overwhelm you with numbers. The problem for him is that he's going to have to overwhelm with numbers into a bunch of castle fire and champions. And he does, once his production cycle is over, it'll be 47 to 52. Meaning he's not going to have the numbers advantage anymore. But he's got 700 stone. He can repair this castle for days. He can sacrifice his units as often as he wants. Why is he engaging? Where's the Centurion? Why are you hanging out here next to this tree? Having a bit of vino. No, you should have been there with your army. Not a great place to attack the castle from. Maybe you want to attack it from the north. where this other castle from the south isn't shelling at you while you do that. But in come the Goths. My goodness, 57 champions. Swordsman pivots south, but there are too few of them now. Where are these Centurions going? Oh, they're being pulled out of position. And take a look at that in the blink of an eye. Do you see a single Gothic unit on the ground here? No, you do not. In the blink of an eye, disaster strikes and our Romans' army is decimated. 40 plus has become barely 20. Centurions pulled way far off course, not lending their effect to these militia line units. And our Goth is raiding to the north as well. Oh no. Disaster for Rome. This is the sacking of Rome. 65 army supply to 10. And another very safe but very forward castle by our Goth. Beautiful. Oh, my only regret is not seeing our Roman hit Imperial and pump out legionaries. But what a fun game. Wow. We got to see them on the water. We got to see them on land now with infantry. And that +4 armor is just ridiculous. But again, like I said, that armor benefit, I think, peaks in Castle Age because the Goths don't have, or the Romans rather, don't have the 3rd armor upgrade, which, by the way, the Goths also don't. That would just be too unfair. Build faster, attack bonus against buildings. Look at that. +7. I thought it was +6. +7 against buildings. And they're cheaper, and they train faster. Giving them the final armor upgrade is just might be a little bit too ridiculous. Look at this guy in his death throes as these arrows fired right through him. This is the Leonidas long swordsman letting out a roar of the lion roar at the end of 300 and falls to his knees. But ultimately, what a beautiful game. I wanted to see infantry. I thought we would based on how the game was shaping up in late feudal, early castle. And they didn't disappoint. Again, my only regret, the Roman didn't go into Imperial. 299 longswordsmen, 453 champions. Although remember, for the duration of the game, the majority of the game, these also were longswordsmen. So it's not exactly 453 champions, but of this line of unit. Wow. Is that any surprise that it's literally 150 plus more units for the Goths? Peak APM. At roughly the same time of the game, the exact same peak APM. Converts 15 for our Goth, pretty much all Centurions and a few swordsmen. Economy can't be that fair, right? Let's take a look. Relics didn't really play a role in it. A lot more wood for our Goth. Very shocking. How much wood did he end the game with? 1,000. The hell did he need all that wood for? To be honest. A lot more food for our Goth as well. Basically the same gold count and 1 extra castle's worth of stone. Let's take a look at kill count. The hubba, 491 for our Roman, 426 for our Goth. And our Goth at the end of the game does take more villager kills. Our Roman, though, not a slouch at all, 50 villager kills. But the barracks were rebuilt up here to the north. This mining camp looks like it never really got up. I don't see any villagers here heading that way, or maybe they were heading that way, but then died. And look at this entire emptiness. Look at this. There's no villagers. They are being shooed away by a unit that attacks on a 17, and their armor is 1. So 16 damage, 3 swipes of that sword, and that villager is dead. But look at this depopulated area of northern Rome. To the west, some farmers, some lumberjacks still inexplicably glowing. But look at this. I love what the Roman did here. 1, 2 castles on the hill, constrained our Goth to the south, made sure that he couldn't push in unless he went through here. By the way, did he explore that part of the map? No, he did not. That's hilarious. Our Goth didn't even see that he could attack through here. But our Roman sees everything around the Goth space. I think both players could have done maybe a bit more scouting, to be fair. This is what our Roman has seen. Our Goth has not seen this part of the base. So both of them missing a bit of vision on each other's bases, but they don't seem to care because they were just butting heads throughout the entire game. And what a fantastic use of this Roman Scorpion, not a ballista. And a cool use of that Centurion, but ultimately that battle that took place here, where the hell were the Centurions going? Oh, super cool. I don't know about you guys. Some of you have good things to say about the Romans. Some of you have bad things to say. Some of you don't really care. Some of you see that the new Romans as a cash grab on social media. A lot of people seem to think that. I absolutely love any kind of new addition as long as it makes sense in the meta of the game. And super duper excited in June, which is only a few days away, with a new patch, although as per usual, not exactly a specific time in June, just a June release. And the Romans will be added to ranked play, which means we are going to get to see a lot more of them. And hopefully we're going to get to see a lot of super cool features. You just know Mr. Yo is going to do something crazy with those Scorpions, or the Viper is going to do something crazy with those Legionaries, or Hera is going to do something bonkers with the Centurions. You know, some of these big names are going to do some cool stuff, and that's what I'm very excited for. In the meantime, though, this unranked match was fantastic. Cloud and KW. By the way, take a look. KW using that 10 extra population space, capped out double the population of the Romans, and ultimately overwhelms. He has more villagers than the Romans have population. And by the end of the game, when your infantry unit is a champion going up against a long swordsman, a 17 attack to an 11, and etc., all the various better features, you know you don't stand a chance. And ultimately, wow, what a cool use of that Roman infantry. Although, again, I wish we got to see legionaries, but again, not too upset, because I know once they add it to ranked ladder, we will. And so I'm kind of like, like in the cartoons, like a little kid holding his hands together, hopping from foot to foot, going, let's see it. Like Cartman in that episode of South Park when he was waiting for the release of, what was it? The Xbox or the Xbox 360? What was it? It was one of the funniest series episode arcs of South Park when he freezes himself. When he freezes himself so that he doesn't have to wait for the release of that video game console or whatever it was. And then he wakes up like 1,000 years in the future. And then he's riding like an emu talking about Jarvis Bros, whatever the hell those are. My cousin and I were watching that episode and we were dying of laughter. I think it was the intro of the second part of that 2-part episode series. But that is what I am. I cannot wait until June arrives and all the early Christmas presents that it brings, i.e. Romans in the ranked ladder. And that's going to be super fun, I think. So whether you agree, disagree, and let me know in the comments below. Like I said, the community is split, but you know what, to be honest, is there anything about Age of Empires that the community isn't split about? Everyone's got an opinion, you know? What is it? There's 5 Age of Empires players in a room, and that means there's 15 opinions. In any event, fantastic, fun match. Our Goth overwhelms, sacks Rome, takes the W, but GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.